Well, in 2009, I felt that it was going to be a year when I would try to persuade people to put data on the web.
Well, Tim was invited to lunch at Chequers by the Prime Minister, and over that lunch he was asked, well, what's happening next in technology?
And I said, well, put all your government data on the web. And he said, okay, let's do it. And so that was very nice to get a prime ministerial mandate. And that added to the fact that there were a bunch of people sort of at the grassroots within government already who'd been really interested in getting a lot of data out there, putting it out there as linked data so that it would connect together.
Tim and I were appointed as information advisors, but we needed something that was compelling. And a little around about the time we were appointed, actually, the Department for Transport had made available some of its accident data. This was to do in particular with bicycle accidents. Now, somewhere within about 12 and 24 hours of that data being released in an accessible form, a group had got together, turned it from one format into another, and another group had got together to say, you know, we can just put this onto a Google map. We can build you a route avoidance planning tool for cyclists to avoid the black spots where the cycle accidents are. And that's a very compelling and immediate example.
How were you able to persuade the political class that this was an idea which was worth doing, that it was worth making the data available for free rather than charging for it?
Well, I think most government data, it's very hard to make an argument for charging the public for it when the public's already paid for it in a way. I think the thing which is so motivating is that actually this is value which we already have. We've already paid for it. It's sitting there, and actually data is much more useful if somebody can look at it and compare it with other data. That's in a way why it's very much more useful to put the data out there than to try and make a beautiful website. If you make a beautiful website, you make it out of your data, and you can show how your particular thing you're interested in has gone on up and down through time. So if you put it out there, somebody will compare it and show how it correlates with how something else has gone up and down through time, and then that's really valuable. So this data is sitting there being very underutilized. If you like, it's a national asset that we've worked hard to make, and the effort required to just put it on the web actually, you know, is very small typically compared to the effort involved in actually all the systems which have actually produced it in the first place.
If you're trying to redraw the notion of what a public body's public duty is, then to get them to think that their first instinct should be to publish it rather than keep it back is a good cultural change. And also there is some clear evidence that if you release it under these terms, you may generate more revenue to the Exchequer through news services and businesses that can end up paying corporation tax.
The areas where it's more complicated is where there's already some sort of a commercial system put in place. So the Ordnance Survey is more complicated because it was set up as a trading agency which was supposed to pay for itself by selling the maps. So obviously you might put the data away give it away for free, and that sort of messes up that business model. So now we have to tweak the way of paying for them. So doing things like, for example, for the very, very, very high resolution small scale maps, maybe saying, well, okay, those people should pay for those. If you're an architect or something, you're building a new shopping centre, then you'll need those maps. But for somebody just going for a walk in the countryside, all that information is at that scale, then it'll be free.
This is very much about giving power to citizens to hold public services accountable. So if you can see the data about mortality rates in hospitals or about crime statistics or about accident statistics, people will actually ask, is this as good as it can get? Are we doing really well here? Are we not doing as well as our neighbouring authority? These things get people interested. It's relevant to them. And I think that rather than having to consume services that government thinks might be good for them, this way round says, you can take the data and manufacture the services that hold us accountable.
The relationship between the government and the public is, in general, when things don't go well, it tends to be due to misunderstanding, and in general misunderstandings are due to lack of communication. So better communication helps, and making data available is sort of part of communication. So it's openness of government. So I think, yeah, people are interested in it from the point of view of transparency, that when people can see how schools are performing, when people can see where the potholes are and how long it takes them to get fixed, two classic examples, then I think there's a feeling that it's good to have government be accountable. It's good for people out there in the street to be able to go in there and look at the state of things and suggest how they could be made better. It makes the country run more efficiently in that way. And it's not just government, though. I think also it's industry. Now, if you're running a business in the country, it's just kind of useful to be able to know where the post boxes are, to know, just basically know where the towns are, where the people are, where the schools are. If you're running an estate agent's website, it's nice to be able to, when you suggest to somebody a house, well, isn't it nice to be able to say, okay, these are where the nearest theatre is. This is where there's just all sorts of information about what it's like to be British, what it's like to be in Britain, which is valuable to individuals and really valuable to industry. And I think having it available will just mean that having a business in Britain should just get that much easier and that much cheaper and become that much more efficient.